People, Deluded, I'm back again. A quick vid, really and truly. I've paraphrased some of what Mkhitaryan's had to say, people. Now, if you don't know, he's not really spoke about Arsenal, but he's offered some sound bites in regards to his time at Arsenal. So we might as well speak about them. Like I said, I've paraphrased it. And give me a second, people. It's gonna, in fact, we'll do this a bit sloppy. A bit different. But first bit I'm going to read is, I have to enjoy playing football, no matter the place. In England, I no longer felt happy. I got a call from my agent and I wanted to come. He's speaking about Roma. Because it's a great opportunity for me. I didn't even have a discussion with my agent about money. Maybe I was not fitting so well in England, in English football. So I think the change was good. The last month at Arsenal, I was not happy. So that's why I said it was better to come to Roma, get happy and get pleasure from playing again. Now I'm in Rome and I focus on them. This is not a backward step as great football is played here. I wanted to change scenery and for me it's an opportunity to be seized. With the national team, I play in behind the striker, so I have more freedom to move wherever I want, to drop back, to take the ball at the end. I have to be in the box to try and help finish chances. But at Man United and Arsenal, my role was different. I was more responsible for helping to build the play, and perhaps that is why I scored fewer goals. But I'm trying to do my best to score and assist again because that is what I get pleasure from. I think maybe I was not fitting so well in England, English football. So I think a change was good. I've heard from many players that the Italian league is great and the football is great. Now, I mean, I'm sure him and Lukaku once upon a time had the same agent. I don't know for now, but surely they've spoken with each other. Surely, I mean, he was good friends with Paul Pogba. Surely he's spoken to him. I mean, his former teammate in Mustafi's played in Italy. Did he speak to him? You see what I'm saying? You can get these things. So carrying on, people. It was a hard question. It's difficult for me to say. This is in relation to leaving Arsenal. I'm not on the Arsenal board. I cannot say. I think it was because it was my wish to leave a lot. I knew I wasn't going to play a lot and maybe I would sit on the bench like I did for the last 3 games before the international break. I knew here I would have more of an opportunity to play because there's the league, the cup, the Europa League. The decision to leave Arsenal was not easy, but thanks to Roma's sporting director and the board, they were able to do it, and hopefully I can show them why they wanted to do it. Now, first and foremost, I think that's a vote of confidence for someone like Reece Nelson because he's seen Mkhitaryan and Iwobi go, so there's opportunities had. Pepe's come in, Aubameyang and Lacazette. Obviously, if they play, the one winger has to miss out, depending on what they want to do. If Aubameyang's out there or 2 up front. Personally, I think Pepe and Nelson would be my options. 2 options we could have dealt with last season because we've had at times Mesut Ozil on the flanks, Mkhitaryan on the flanks, Iwobi on the flanks. I like all of these players, but none of them, quite frankly, do the business out there. So yeah. He did kind of give, was he kind of alluding to how he's been tactically stationed in England as to why it hasn't worked out? Because when you describe Mkhitaryan to me, I have him down as a creative player in that attacking mid-10 sort of role that if you're playing 4-2-3-1, he's in that whole sort of thing behind the strikers. But we all know primarily, forgive me if I'm wrong, United fans, that's where he was playing on the right hand side for United, and Arsenal the same. Obviously there was times he played in the 10 for both clubs. Admittedly I can't pinpoint a game or think of it right now, but I'm sure there was. But he was on the flanks. We all know his strengths are to come inside and want to get onto the ball. So maybe tactically was that an issue why it didn't happen for him. Cultural shock. Obviously he didn't replicate the Bundesliga form, anything close to the Bundesliga form in England. I wouldn't say he's been a flop because at the end of the day, getting to a final doesn't mean anything, but he was part of an Arsenal team that got to the Europa League final. He's played for 2 of the biggest clubs in England, in Man United and Arsenal. I'm sure it was his father's dream to see him play for United. Forgive me if I'm wrong. I remember his dad sadly passed away when he was at United. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Obviously, he won the Europa League title with Manchester United. He's played under Jose and Wenger. When you look back in your career, of course it could have been better, but I wouldn't say it's been a flop. But on the other hand, obviously, you could say Arsenal, I'm always going to say it from an Arsenal perspective, we got the better player in hindsight. Not, obviously, Alexis in his prime dwarfs Mkhitaryan, but in terms of what Mkhitaryan showed us and what Alexis showed at United, we probably got the better deal because Mkhitaryan played slightly better and he had slightly more memorable moments. I mean, the 3 goals, 3 assists against Everton, for example, shows he actually played well against United and other games like that. And there was a patch last season, forgive me if I'm wrong, Arsenal fans, for all the fair fans, there was a time there was a purple patch from Mickey last season where you was thinking he's one of the first names on the team sheet. Alexis didn't do his business at United, but either way, I believe it's the worst swap deal ever in Premier League history potentially. And even though it was obviously it's not exactly free, yes, they've got to pay wages and commercial deals, both clubs to both players, but for a free transfer, it's probably proven the most costly transfer because neither player did the thing. Alexis is on ridiculous wages. I don't like to talk about wages, but wages should kind of correlate to what you do for the team and how much you make the difference for the team. Mkhitaryan for high wages and things like that, and age and things, he's up there. For ability and just consistency, he hasn't shown it. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't want Mkhitaryan at the club, people. I just didn't think he was good enough. And as he came, he sold. I made a vid. I said, I think it was in relation to Mkhitaryan versus Everton. He kind of sold me on like, alright, cool, you can complement the side, but more often than not, he just didn't pull it out really and truly. He just didn't show it, man. Whether it was tactically, whether it was managerial, who knows? But he played frequently under Emre, but he's played under Emre, he's played under Wenger, and he's played under Jose. 3 different managers, not really mixed success, to put it nicely. Is there something potentially he did right or wrong? Who knows, people? It's something for him to review. But either way, I'm happy that we've got him off the wage bill. We send, well, at least for this year, that's 10 mil off the wages potentially. And it allows us to move forward as a club, man. Hopefully he gets a permanent deal to Roma. Hopefully he just enjoys playing football again, man. Because that's what we want to see from everybody, in short, people. So that's it in regards to Mkhitaryan. I was going to do this in a separate vid, people. But admittedly, I don't have much time. So I'm going to speak about it now. Obviously, you lot know me. I like to try and look at youth talents and see what's going on. But I've spoken about Luke Matheson before. Mason, I cannot say his name. He plays for Rochdale. I've seen him play at left back, but he's primarily a right-sided fullback allegedly. I like him a lot. He obviously hit the headlines playing for Rochdale, being a 15, 16-year-old kid playing in playing league football, professional football, obviously with his GCSEs. And I think it's been a year from then, and he's continued his progress. First, I think I like to say is that he's 17 in October. He's in England under 17 international. Potentially, could it be worth doing what Norwich did with Dan Ashted from Rochdale, buying him, putting him in our academy, developing him, seeing if we can develop to first team or potentially making a tidy profit. For him, he'd be playing in a competitive environment and whatnot. For what it's worth, I wouldn't come to Arsenal beyond what I've just said because he's played 12 or so times for the League One side, Rochdale. Why would you want to leave? How many 16, 17-year-olds can say they've done that 12 times, let alone 20 or 100? How many can they say that? So he's at the right place. You feel the move will come. He's almost going to become too big for the club of such. Manchester United and all neighbouring clubs are already aware of his interest. Like I said, Dan Ashted, after making his debut and playing okay against Spurs a couple of years ago, has gone to Norwich. Why he forfeited playing kind of men's football to go play academy football at Norwich, only he'll answer. Is he going to go there similar to Matheson, train himself there for a bit, and there's a trajectory? Who knows? But I wouldn't want to go from playing, obviously I don't think he's playing on a regular basis week in, week out, but I wouldn't want to go from potentially being closer to the first team to just being in Arsenal's academy, so I wouldn't do it. But potentially, similar to Norwich, for a nominal fee, could we develop him and make him progress to first team? And he's someone that I'm liking, tracking the progress. And for what it's worth, Rochdale are doing good things, man. They've obviously got Aaron Moley, who made his debut at 16, he's now 19. They've got Lewis Bradley, who's 18. Harrison Hooper is 18, a fairly good goal scorer in Fabio Tavares, who joined as an under-15 player, fairly prolific at academy level. So they've got a mantra of bringing in academy players and giving opportunities to academy players. I'd also like to see us look at Noah Kenneth of Leeds. I know he was wanted by PSG. Up for England, I've seen him play right back, I've seen him play centre, defensive mid. People say he's got scope to be a centre half. I don't think his passing range is expansive, but he does seem very mature on the ball, very mature off it, and he has got good physical quality, so he's someone that could potentially make a profit, although I do believe Leeds would be the best for him. And obviously you've got Barley Mumba of Sunderland, who was a former teammate of Sam Greenwood. Again, seen him play at right back, seen him play in midfield. He's made a couple of appearances for Sunderland, 9 to be specific. Potentially, is there profit to be made there? And for him, could he come to Arsenal in a more competitive environment, stay here until 18? If he's not given an opportunity, keep it moving, like you've seen with Daniel Marlin and all other players that have gone on and had success. But for instance, for what we need to start doing is getting players from other clubs, bringing them in. What we already do, developing them and potentially making a profit. And also you've got Ben Christen, who you've seen 15 years of age, made his debut for Exeter. Anyone that comes through Exeter's academy, in my opinion, is someone worth paying close attention to, because they've got a fantastic academy that not only develops players for the future, but gives them players that can be sold to reinvest. You look at Matty Grimes, who was it Swansea he went to, allows them to reinvest. This guy looks decent. He's a central midfielder from what I've seen. I'm not watching him religiously, so I don't really know his profile, but he's got good height. Potentially with his height, could he move into defence one day? I don't know. Like I said, I need to do more research on him, but he looks a fairly competent individual. Just on the basis of a month ago, I think we should have done more for him, which Chelsea have been on this guy's case. Can we do more for this guy? He's only 15, but like people at Exeter said, they said he's going to play at the top level. It's as simple as that. What the top level is for Ben, he's 15 years of age. I can't tell you that yet, but I think he'll play at a top standard of football. It might be 3 or 4 years down the line when Ben Christie plays a League 2 fixture. It might be 3 months down the line. You don't know with young players. So let's allow him, people. He's only 15 and he's played for England at under 15s level. He's actually trained with Southampton and Chelsea, and I believe that could even be true for Liverpool, who are very much interested in him. So potentially, I'm not sure for compensation packages or if Arsenal could have a look, but in terms of just potentially bringing in players that can make a profit for the club, and if not that, go on to first team, he's someone potentially to look at and assess, people. Because like I said, they've got a good academy going. So I kind of went left and right with Mkhitaryan, and then I touched on this because I actually have to get on the train in a bit, people. It's 7:54. It's time for me to keep it moving, but I've got to do this about football, people. So on that note, people, Deluded, stay safe. I'm out.